TGIF, everybody. But also,
we'll see you next week.
Big ups to Greg Popovich, greatest coach of all time.
Big ups.
More playoff wins than about 28 other NBA teams.
Big ups.
Moving to the team president, Mike.
Congrats.
Will be in our hearts forever. Welcome to the Kind of Funny Gamescast for
Remember
Friday.
when they caught that bat on the court?
Oh, my God. Ginobili, dude. Just the GOAT, dude. Welcome to Kind of Funny Gamescast for Friday, May 2nd, 2025. I am Andy Cortez, and I'm joined by Gregory Miller.
Hello, Andy. It does me well to be here. Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Yang fam, I see you in the chat. When we were filtering in, Yang's like, I need these guys to do an Expedition 33 spoiler cast. And I'm happy to confirm next week you will be getting that.
Wow.
Do not worry about that. We are covering all those bases.
And I'm also joined by Snowbike Mike.
Hi, Andy. It's been a great week
Mike.
of a lot of games. Some Arc Raiders you and I are enjoying. Having fun with that.
Played more Arc Raiders. Made a friend last night in Arc Raiders.
I'm jealous. I'm not happy about that.
Yeah.
not happy about you.
Is
getting
there
more
enough
friends.
Andy to go around?
I was looking for these goddamn explosive materials, whatever the hell they're called.
No way.
Died at about 3 different runs back to back to back, and I was like, I'm gonna join with a fill squad.
Oh, you filled. Oh,
So I did a fill squad.
Okay.
Hopped in last night. Real nice dude named Turtle.
Nice.
Turtle's just
There's
like,
always good turtles out there.
well, yeah, I don't really need anything, Nitro. So if you want to, whatever you need to go get, I was like, yeah, I need these explosive materials. Like, oh, okay, yeah, we could do that. Killed a couple squads.
Exciting.
We exfilled without getting the stuff.
Okay.
And then
Turtles
we were
are not
like,
on my
all right,
watch.
we're like, GG's boys, good stuff. I was like, later, Turtle. And the lobby pops up again. The run's done. We're back at the home lobby, and Turtle's standing right next to me. I was like, oh shit, Turtle, you there? He's like, oh yeah. I was like, you want to do another run, man? He's like, yeah, sounds good. Shout out to Turtle, man.
Did you get it?
Shout out to Turtle.
The following run I did. Successfully got the thing, and then we exfilled without our squad mate. Man, we had some great team fights. It was thrilling. I'm really enjoying Arc Raiders.
Good.
Sorry, Mike. I'm not trying to, get you jealous about Turtle.
I was hoping that
Should've been
Turtle
there.
would have failed you because I have one.
How awesome would it be if you were like, and you put up like a voice changer, like, did Turtle sound like this?
Oh my God, how do you do that? This is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every weekday, we get together to talk about the biggest reviews, previews, and topics in video games live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with a Kind of Funny membership on Patreon, YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts to get all of our shows ad-free. Watch us record them live and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be a part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube SuperChats as we go. Housekeeping. We're just a little baby 11-person business. And if you don't want the things that you love to disappear, you got to support the little baby businesses.
That's right.
And so thank you all for helping keep the lights and mics on. On Games Daily, before this, you had the venerable Jeff Grubb.
Unemployed.
The honorable Jeff Grubb.
Is he?
The amazing Jeff Grubb. I was trying to see if you could come up with as many adjectives as I could.
I just have derogatory ones, all right?
And Tim Geddes, and they're talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 being delayed until 2026. And today, after the Gamescast, you have the spoiler cast for Andor Season 2, Episodes 4 through 6. With Barrett Courtney, Tim Geddes, Sage Ryan, Anthony Carboni. And then after that, first off, it's a big day of content.
That's a huge
day.
Because that's already huge. But after that, the finale of Games Showdown. Holy cow.
Can we
Who
do it,
wins?
Andy? Can we finally dethrone Tim Geddes?
I think we can.
I'm a runaway success this season with Stars in the Bank.
Hey,
I am Team Blue, looking
been
to
watching it.
three-peat the championship for
Yeah.
Team Blue, of course. But Tim Geddes is Roman Reigns. All right, we got to finish this guy's story.
And after that, you got more gaming greatness with Snowbike Mike and Nick Scarpino escaping from Tarkov. The final day of the week.
the day to prove that we learned. The day.
This is the final exam.
Today
This
is the final exam. Did you see we got a Sherpa?
You did.
on day
I did.
2? Shout out to Bacon for
Shout out
coming
to
to join
Bacon.
us.
Yeah.
Because, Bacon taught me everything I know, and then I tried to regurgitate that to Nick. He stared at his phone, didn't really listen. So I had to call Bacon and get Bacon in there to teach him how to do it.
Right.
And now Nick loves this game.
He
We
does.
played it yesterday at work. He can't get enough.
Off stream, you just
Off
hopped
stream.
in.
Yeah, well, you guys were filming
It's
another show. We were having fun.
It's been great to see him kind of like absorb information. I thought he was allergic to that. I thought he was unable to to learn things.
You should have saw us yesterday because, like, there's no nameplates. So there we are. We load in.
Yeah.
I walk up. I start looting a body and immediately sniped out of nowhere. I go, I'm dead. Nick starts giggling. He goes, that was me. God, Nick, you killed me.
God damn it. If you're a Kind of Funny member, today's Gregway is...
I review the Ray-Ban Metas that I've been wearing. I'm not wearing them today because I left in a whole, like, I'm later than I thought I was, and then I got in the car. I'm like, right, I was supposed to do the Metas, but I've been wearing my Ray-Ban Metas quite a bit, and I talk about them today.
They posted a big update saying, like, look into your privacy settings because, they're doing more things that you need. So look into them.
Okay, we'll do.
Open up their settings.
I can make videos, and I can listen to music through them.
Is it like a tap or is it a voice command?
I turned off. You can do voice command. I turned that off. I use the tactile button.
Cool.
I love that.
That's cool.
It's a new month, which means a new premium collector's item. Grab your Nitro Rifle poster from Panda Musk to celebrate our 10 years on kindafunny.com/premium. I had the honor of watching Panda Musk kind of work through this because he was just like stoked, and he's an amazing artist, and I love seeing what he works on. And he made a very like Cowboy Bebop sort of looking inspired art piece with marching band major Nick Scarpino as like this sort of god emperor looking dude. You got Stone Mike as an android, Greg Miller, or no, I guess that's Greg or Nick. Well, that guy only has a mustache.
Yeah, I think that's Tim.
Tim,
I'm in
the blue visor.
Far back. Me and Roger are in
As
the
you
far
should
back.
be.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Got Joey in the front there, blessing
Panda
samurai
killing
dude.
it all year long, making all these for us.
Looks amazing. Shout out to Panda Musk. You're incredible. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl Jacobs, Omega Buster, and Delaney Twining. Today we're brought to you by Imperial and Aura Frames, but we'll tell you all about that later. For now, let's start with topic of the show. The topic of the show. It was a big game that released recently, and it was Expedition 33. But another game also released, and that was the often kind of rumored, as of recently, the Oblivion Remaster. They went in there, they remade one of the highest rated games of all time, one of the most enjoyed RPGs of all time, Oblivion Remaster. Obviously, since that was a shadow drop, we didn't have a chance to review it. We didn't get early codes. Nobody knew about it. We got it when everybody else was able to get their hands on it. So let me just read a quick quip from Wikipedia that says, Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered is an action role-playing game co-developed by Virtuos and Bethesda Game Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. It's a remaster of 2006's Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, and includes a full graphics overhaul using Unreal Engine 5 and various other improvements, from sprinting to redesigned menus. The original expansion packs, Knights of the Nine and Shivering Isles, are part of Oblivion Remastered. I definitely have the least amount of history with this franchise because I was always the BioWare RPG player.
You looked at this, you're like, get out of here, Bethesda.
And I only had time and money, and I couldn't be going all over the place. But, Mike, you have a pretty big history with Oblivion.
Yeah.
What is your past with Oblivion at like the OG one from 2004?
Yeah, Andy, I'm a 360 kid, so this was really special to me back in the day. This is one of those early RPGs I've ever played. Me and my brother actually had Morrowind and didn't understand anything that was going on in that game. Because when you're so young and like that game, little to no guidance on that one. Really just let you go off the rails on that one. That was pretty special back in the day. But Oblivion to me was the perfect time, right? I must have been that 12 to 14 age range there. And so it was like peak gaming. This was it. I bought my first strategy guide for Oblivion. And I was reading up on all the Daedric princes. I was shutting down all of the Oblivion gates.
Fuck yeah,
it was everything to me. And so, yeah, this remaster was really special. The announcement, the shadow drop was really fun and cool. And this past week, jumping back in to Cyrodiil and reliving those moments is a special time for me.
So talk me through this.
Yeah.
You and your brother get Morrowind.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know what's going on.
No idea, Greg. Because, like, the compass, if you remember that tiny little compass?
I never played Morrowind.
Well, yeah, and it's fun. We're so pampered now with this remaster. If you go back to the old school Oblivion, which is on backwards compatibility, which I did on one of my streams, the compass is this small, Andy. You can barely tell which way to go, and like you have no idea. So on Morrowind, there was no real like, hey, this is a clear defined where you need to go. So we'd get lost all the time trying to figure out what are the quest objectives, where should we be going. We were only children.
But did you
at that
like
time.
it? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I liked the freedom. I liked the idea of building out a character. It was kind of new to us, the idea of like this true RPG of skill points, stats, what is your character, all these different races. So yeah, it was cool enough to want to play more.
Oblivion gets announced or comes out, do you get hyped for it immediately because of Morrowind, or like what drew you into it being this Xbox game?
Oh, early 360 Xbox games.
Okay.
Anything that was big on the 360 back then. Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Never forget.
You know what I
who could
mean?
forget?
Let's get
Don't
those
forget
1,000
that.
Chivos. Come on.
Cameo.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Don't forget,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So yeah, it was just one of the early Xbox 360 launch window titles, right?
Yeah.
That I can vividly remember being excited about and thinking, oh, wow, we're going to put this in the 360 and just get lost in it.
It's the one you heard from the nerdiest people about.
Yeah.
And the one that was always in that like greatest hits sort of section, or it was obviously one of those games that has an amazing amount of really high ratings. And I was always scared to even look at it back in the day because I was like, I don't know anything about this franchise. Do I have to play 1 through 3? I was definitely that dude. And
This is King Kong, by the way.
oh hell yeah,
Never
sick.
forget.
And yeah, so Oblivion was always one of those titles for me that just always seemed a bit too overwhelming. And then
Sure.
Skyrim, once that comes out, becomes that's the more mainstream kind of version of it. Greg, what is your past with Oblivion, if any?
None. That's the whole thing. I want to read you a text message from Saturday at 11:43 p.m. I text the one, the only, Charles on yet.
Oh,
Famed IGN reviewer, all right, from way back in the day. Charles has been gone from IGN forever before I left. But he is, of course, the man who reviewed Oblivion on March 24th, 2006, and gave it a 9. What did they give it? It was a 9.3, amazing on the IGN scale back then. And I just texted him at the end of my play session on Saturday night. Pretty messed up. You never told me to play Oblivion back in the day. And this is the first time Charles and I have talked in years. He just goes, "Ha, hope you're liking it, Greg." I don't know what's wrong with me in 2006. I really don't. You figure at 2006, March 2006, when Charles reviews this, I have a 360. I've tricked the Columbia Daily Tribune into buying me a 360 because I'm already doing the Game Over column. I'm already doing the Game Over blog. So I had a 360. I am religiously reading EGM. I am religiously reading IGN. The only thing I can think is that I looked at what the key art for Oblivion was and equated it more to WoW, not necessarily in terms of gameplay, but in terms of, it's elves and orcs, which is never a Greg Miller thing. That fantasy thing isn't me, especially back then. I've changed, there's definitely things, and I'm enjoying my time here, we'll talk about. But like, I have no definitive, I'm not going to play Oblivion because of X. And then it gets ridiculous because I start at IGN in 2007. March 1st, 2007 is my first day at IGN on the PlayStation team. So if you remember, Oblivion comes to PlayStation in 2007. And I don't know what they had me on review grinding that I was like, well, I'm not going to touch this game. Old game is old. Or more likely than not, Charles has this covered because he's done it before. We don't need to worry about it. But I have no earthly idea why Oblivion never was something that anyone at IGN was like, yo, you got to play this. I don't know if my palette just wasn't as refined in terms of like RPG meant something different back then, right? I tell the story all the time being an old fart that this is, 2007, 2008 is really when people keep coming back from previews and they're like, yeah, I went and previewed X and it's got RPG elements in it. It's like, it's an RPG light. There's a skill tree. There's experience. There's experience in this action adventure game. That just wasn't, what it was. And now you play something like Jedi Fallen Order and you're like, what's the difference anymore between what you think of an old school RPG and what you think of here? Now people define it so much more by choice, consequence, changing the story to fit your whim to be an RPG more, right? But anyways, Oblivion, no, totally went past me. I'm on GameScoop making horse armor jokes, I'm sure, because that was such a big deal. But it's just never something I went and picked up. So it's a huge blind spot for me. And it isn't until Fallout 3 that I play my first Bethesda RPG and fall in love, right? And I play Skyrim, and I play Fallout 4, and I play Starfield, obviously well-versed in. So it's a weird one that not only did I never play it in the contemporary time period I existed in. I never went back to it either. I never felt the need to go back to it. So this remaster couldn't be a better entry point for me to get in to see what the hubbub was all about.
Well, maybe, Greg, in 2007, you were playing God of War 2 on the PlayStation.
I was.
And reviewing
PlayStation
that.
2. I didn't review it. No, I was never
That's
good.
crazy.
Maybe MLB 2007, the show.
Maybe.
Just looking at other games that came out. Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Of course,
Come on.
I'm playing that. Yeah,
course.
I did play it. I did play it.
That's where Mike was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to sort of one of those games that becomes a staple and becomes a game that everybody looks at as the big favorite, and introducing a lot of us to what Bethesda jank is, I think is another great thing where, to reiterate, Chad, this is a review in progress. This is
review
just,
so far. We haven't.
just-
I haven't rolled credits. I don't know if Mike's rolled
No,
credits.
no,
I'm
no.
remastered. I know you've rolled credits.
Yeah, I've only put in around 3 or 4 hours or so. I
Oh,
want to
okay.
play more because I enjoyed what I was able to experience, but
Mike, how many hours? Of
it's such a
remaster have
goofy
you done?
game.
I'm probably 10 plus right now.
Oh, okay.
I've restarted 3 times already.
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
true Bethesda game style of just restarting again.
I'm probably.
And why is that?
The first time I started a character I didn't like, then I made Evil Mike. I had a ton of fun. Cloud save didn't carry over to the work computer here, so I had to restart as Roger. And so I'm playing now Roger over here,
Yeah.
and I have Evil Mike back at home. So I'm back and forth.
A lot of crashes as well, too, right?
Yeah, I was unhappy today. The
your
work
PC?
PC had a lot of crashes on the game. Crashed 4 times in my hour that I was playing over.
Is
The
this
one at
the
your
PC,
desk or the one
yeah?
in the lab?
No, inside the
Damn.
lab, which was unfortunate.
I was going to say the one at your desk with 1 gigabyte of RAM.
Yeah. But back at home, it ran perfectly, flawless for most of my playthrough back at home. So yeah, just one of those.
I've had one crash so far in my experience, because the way this is the original engine called Gamebryo back in 2006 or 2000 whatever, and essentially Virtuos piling Unreal Engine 5 on top of that. And anytime I was experiencing issues during my stream, chat was like, remember, this is
It's like running
a
twice.
not super loved engine running on top of a very kind of janky, unstable engine. So you're kind of just adding into the unstableness there.
Real quick
but-
to get it out there before we go to our. I'm 20 plus hours into this.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Okay, shit.
I've been going.
Now,
I'm
how
really
much
glad.
of that was you hitting the button to level up your lock?
Can we talk about that? That was so good.
That
Yes.
was all of what 15 minutes
It was
yesterday
amazing
while
to
I did
watch,
work.
though.
Explain what happened. Explain
there's,
from your perspective.
there's just this sound coming from Greg's desk, right? It's just a tapping sound. And I'm like, man, what's going on over there? And I look over, and Greg, the hardest working dude I know, right? He's got 2 screens full of emails. He's checking YouTube comments on one. But then over on one side, he's playing Oblivion, and he's at the lockpick screen. And he's just half-ass lockpicking this thing. And I'm going, what is he doing in my mind there? What's this tapping going
And
on?
it's a thing where Mike walked by me, and I'd noticed this already, and I kind of looked at him, and then Mike walked by me, and me and Mike looked at each other, and we both looked. We gave each other a look, and like, "What's Greg doing?" And we look at Greg. What are you doing? I'm just upgrading my lockpicking. But the tapping was going for a while.
So, if you're unfamiliar with, I would say, old Bethesda RPGs, because it's not. And correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Please keep me honest. In Fallout, I don't remember it ever being like this, and then because you have the special system there, and then of course in Starfield they changed so many different things or whatever. But Skyrim, I remember doing it, but Oblivion's even more egregious about it, right? Of like you have so many stats of your blade,
It's so cool.
your sheet,
Yeah, I
your
love
blocking, your lock picking, and the way you upgrade those is by doing that thing more. And it's a really beautiful system because it is the idea of like, well, if I play this weapon and I do this in stealth, I'm going to be a much different character than you guys if you're using a hammer and you're all about this. Like literally your stats will be built out so much differently and you'll have these really robust characters.
I love when games have those systems.
Me too.
cool.
And but it's like the way they do it is interesting. We'll talk about it because it's so classic Bethesda. But like the idea here is that the more you do it, the more you get it. And so when you level up, you do these things to level up your lock picking or your blade or whatever, and then that gives you, when you level that up, a level up for your overall character to go in and change your stats, which again is going to change blah blah blah. So lock picking in this game is bad. I don't like lock picking in this
Bad.
game.
Yeah,
and it's like
bad.
this is especially from the sidelines now participating, like this is one of those things that like clearly Bethesda was like, what are we doing with this remaster? And they're like, we're remastering the game. All the things that were janky and weird and not beloved back then or over time have aged. We're just going to leave them there. Who cares? Like, you know what I mean? This is what people are going to expect out of Oblivion. We're not remaking it.
Right.
And so as Barrett has pulled up here, what the lock-picking minigame is, you take your little lock picker, you push the clip up, and they fall down, but when they hang for a second, that's when you got to lock them in.
The worst.
But it's like you burn through lock picks so fucking fast, and it's like
it was the first boss of the game that I encountered. Like it was a moment of achievement when I finally found a lot more lock picks, and Melissa with a Y in the Twitch chat was like, you should go back and try to get that box that you wasted 12 lockpicks on. I was like, fucking challenge accepted, dude. My final one.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the thing that bothers me the most about it, Greg, is these little pins vary in speed. So tell me about that.
So, again, this goes back to, you see up there, it talks about your security level is 16 on this one, right? And then over there it said average for the lock or whatever. When you increase your security level, the locks become easier. They stick more. You do the whole thing, right?
Is it a timing thing? Does your window get larger, like a parry
exactly.
window?
You push them up there and they hang way longer.
Got
for you to lock
you.
it in. So, anyways, my thoughts of playing Oblivion for the first time. It is such an interesting, even though I didn't live it at that time, a throwback to games of that time. Because Mikey brings up the strategy guide.
Yeah.
And the amount of times with this game, I stop and I go, Oblivion, how to cure being a vampire, Oblivion, how to, you know what I mean? Like, of like going in of like, the game's huge and obviously you could wander and find all this and stuff, but it's just like, I need a guide. Like, it's that kind of game where they're not telling you anything, which is refreshing and different and cool, or even though back then that's how it was, you know what I mean? But like, whatever. And so like early on when I was doing I love lockpicking in games. And so I got this and I'm like, great, I'm fail, clip, break, clip, break. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? So I then like, okay, hold on, go to a YouTube video, watch a guy, hang for it, okay, fine. And then you jump in. What you guys saw me yesterday, which would basically be 20 hours later. I'm so fucking not good at it. And I'm like, I gotta fucking, there's gotta be another, how do you do it, because at one point I thought when the thing was coming out, I was like, oh, is this another tell for when I should do it? Like one of my lockpick drops? It wasn't. But I went to look at another one and I ran into a Reddit thread and it was just like, by the way, they haven't patched this other thing where if you lock in one pin, if you then tap A on it over and over again, it just counts as success. So that's what I was doing is I sat there for 10 minutes doing email tapping A, and that just took me to 99 on my thing. So now every lock is easy for me to get into.
That's that old school stuff that Greg was talking about where you can sneak behind somebody and your stealth continues to increase. So you'll see people constantly walking behind people there to level it up.
I saw it in the chat. Yeah, we have a super chat from Demon Hacker. Did Greg rubber band his sticks to level up sneaking, right? I haven't done that yet, but I will. And it's the thing of like, for me, that is the story of Skyrim. Because Skyrim has very similar systems, right? Obviously, a sequel to this, a bit more modern because it was a bit later in the timeline. But I remember Skyrim being my first Elder Scrolls, and it was that idea. I'll never forget. It was Colin was doing a podcast behind me with Sin and Mark Ryan. They were recording Washington's Beard when they used to do that, and it was me in the living room. TV muted, just with my character and crouched behind a monk in Skyrim. And what you would do is you would hit the monk once, and your stealth would go up, and then he'd stand up, and then he'd sit back down, and then you'd hit him again. You had to wait, and I just did that for hours, like to get my stealth up or whatever. To do the same thing.
Power leveling type shit.
Exactly.
I love that.
So like, again, like, I feel like both of these stories are such great windows into what Oblivion is and what kind of game it is and what kind of RPG it is. Like, it is a nerdy ass RPG of like, how do you want to chase this and how do you want to do it? And as somebody who fell in love with Bethesda games with Fallout 3 and has been along the entire ride, it's fun to go back here and have it. Okay, sure. Plenty of things are antiquated in this. Like, right, like I'm in the middle of a fucking Oblivion gate right now, where you go through, you kill everything, you unlock the gate, congratulations, you did the thing. And it's like, cool, I've leveled up. Well, I can't apply any of these stats until I go sleep. That fucking sucks. Yep, like, what is everything we play nowadays has been streamlined and to be frictionless, which is always such a great word. And so it's funny to come back to this game and have all these different things of friction. And it's a thing of like, cool, I have a healing spell for minor wounds. And I don't understand why sometimes it works and then other times, and I'm in boss fights just running around healing myself. I'm like, no, do it. Why? Oh, God, I'm right. And then it's the idea. I was telling Jen about this last night. I don't know, very romantic anniversary. Romantic anniversary date where I just talked about Oblivion.
Had to talk about Oblivion.
Where again, it's I'm doing things.
to warm them up, you know.
I'm doing things in this game that I haven't done in forever, and one of those is cheesing, where it's just like, cool, go clear out the nest of vampires. Pff, got that. Get there, get my ass handed to me by these vampires. Just get my ass handed to it, and it's that idea of like, okay, well, I'm going to eat shit and kill every one of these vampires. Like, I'm challenging myself to do it when clearly the game doesn't want me to do it because I'm under leveled or my blade isn't high enough. So it's like, all right, I go in there and I'll tease one of them out and they come out and we're fighting on a hillside. So, they kill me and I load the save and they kill me and I load the save. And then it's like, okay, well, I run them down the hill and then I run back up the hill, but you can't run up a hill. So I'm doing the trudgy walk. So then I turn around and I'm shooting arrows at this poor vampire who's slowly trudging up behind me. And then it's like, rope-a-dope, run him to the side, run him back down and go back up. And it's like that little, like, how am I
was told by everybody to be jumping all the time.
Yeah,
Always
of course.
be
They
jumping.
get your acrobatics, is it? Or agility, whatever it is up. Yeah, like, there's all that kind of stuff in here that, like, is a game unto itself. The top level thoughts from Greg Miller on Oblivion, I know I've talked a lot already and I have so much more to say, right? Is like, what a charming and quaint RPG. Like, I legitimately love it for what it is. I've talked at length, I think, about this on Gregway this week of like, I have a lot of gamer guilt right now where it is, I wanted to play as much of this to get to this review, right? And so I think I'm going to put it down now. Not because I don't like it, not because I'm never coming back to it, because it's like, well, my plan before going to PAX next week, come see me do my PAX keynote Thursday. Ben Starr's interviewing me 11 a.m. My plan was to go there, and on those flights, I'm going to do Outer Worlds again so that we can do the review at the end of the month like we want to do a re-review, right? So this is my chance to play that, which means putting this down, which I find myself torn about, right? Where it's like, I would love to keep playing it, but sometimes I'm playing it and I'm like, I should stop playing this. Where it's just like, I'm not getting, like, it's not, to go through all.
Why is that? Like, because you're still having fun, you're enjoying it, but is it I should prioritize other stuff?
It's the prioritized stuff for sure, but it's also the fact of just like, I love it for what it is, and what it is a small, quaint game. For me personally, like, I have run into nobody that matters to me. Like, there's no Andreja, you know what I mean? There's no dog meat. There's no, the chat convinced me to make a tiger character, right? The Khajiit, right?
Yes.
Well, I made a Khajiit who made him look like Truman the Tiger from the zoo and called him Truman the Tiger. But it's like, I don't feel like I'm role playing as him, right? Like, I feel like this is a game, and back to that being quaint and a product of its time. Like, I feel so much like I am role playing the hero, the swordsman, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just there to do the thing and get the thing, and all right, cool. And like, you're presented with funny little quests here and there, but it's like, I'm not connected to this world. I'm not in love with this world. Like, I need to be a part of it. Even going to the Imperial City, right, which is that you saw in the wide shot there, right? You get in there and it's like so laughably small, where it's like, oh yeah, this is that kind of game where it's like, as you come in on this one, and it's this giant, like,
great title card, though, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, great
title card.
In the round thing, you get in there, and it's like, oh, I gotta go to the armor. Every one of these, it's just these circles of stone with like doors, and I go into them, and like people give shit about like, oh man, fucking Starfield's a fast travel simulator. I'm like, motherfucker, the amount of times I'm warping back here, load through the door, run into the store, load through the door, sell my shit, fix my shit, load through the door, come out to fast travel back. I'm like, all right, guys, what are we talking about? But again, product of its time.
Yeah,
but it's like, this feels like such a small, lovable, even though I don't have the history with it, a comfort food RPG. Where what I think, for me, it'll be, I think I'm going to put it down, and then I'd imagine what's going to happen is I come back on a day where I'm like, man, what do I want to play? Oh, you know what? I'm going to run a couple quests. I'm going to go see what's over there. I'm going to go do that.
Yeah. That's kind of, in the short amount of time that I was experiencing it, first off, I was surprised that there was fast travel right off the rip.
Yes.
I was like, holy shit, that immediately I was like, oh, that's something that they added for the remaster, I bet. That's a quality of life thing. And everybody was like, no. You can just do that. So I was pretty surprised by that.
Yeah.
But I am I'm right with you that, I don't know if you eventually meet any NPCs that kind of become a Garrus Vicarian, a Morden Solus, a Rex, Mike could probably be the best one to answer that because I know you have a much larger history with Oblivion.
Yeah, well, I'm making my own fun right now with Brother Martin. You know what I mean? I'm taking Brother Martin, son to the king, heir to the throne. he's supposed to be taken somewhere. I'm taking him
great.
on my own journey.
Of course,
So
yeah.
I'm making my fun. And I think
You
that's
kidnapped him
always
like you often
the
try to get
Bethesda
me in the
stuff.
car with you.
Get ready. We're gonna go to LA together one day in the car ride.
And that's the thing with the vampires,
Yes,
right? Where
you
it's
make
like
your own fun.
in a normal game, in a modern game, if the mission was get the vampires to get the thing to go to the thing to fight the big boss, and I got to this vampire cave and I was just getting my fucking shit kicked in, I'm like, this is a progress blocker. But here in this game, I'm like, well, progress feels like it takes forever anyway. I don't feel like I'm leveling up a lot, right? Like I'm using my blade all the time. I'm barely a level 50 blade. I'm like, fuck, come on. I want to kill things with this goddamn thing.
Now, Mike, with your history of it, do you recollect any moments that you could look back on and be like, oh, that side quest was awesome, or this faction, or this NPC? I know we don't want to get too spoilery for a game that came out in 2006, but
it's been a really long time for me, so I'm reliving a lot of the WoW moments. I think the finale is the big part that, like, I would encourage Greg and others to get to, because I think that is really special what they did there. But, like, I think when I think of Bethesda games and those, like, really memorable moments, the factions, the companions, that started for me back in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, man. And I think maybe that's just like a product of the time where I was a little bit older.
Right.
I cared a little bit more. But for me, it was Skyrim when you really started to dive into, I care about this character that's following me around. I want to be part of this faction or guild. So that's where it kicked in for me. This one, when I'm reliving it, it seems a little more empty. It doesn't have the, oh, wow, this character's got to ride or die with me forever. It's just
And not
that.
to say it needs that again for what it was. I think what I think is interesting when I think about the game and I talk about the game, like for me, I think it exists in this really interesting spot where it feels to me like obviously you see the seeds of everything Bethesda RPGs become, and there's that, and that's in here. Obviously,
and a lot of
stats.
RPGs have become,
100%. But I also feel like, especially when I look at my character or I look at the gameplay or when I'm playing it, right? Because combat sucks. You know what
It's
I mean?
old.
You know what
It's
I mean?
old.
It's like
It's old.
I'm like, why is this guy fucking doing so much damage? And it's like, oh, I gotta block every shot, then hit you. Block every shot, then hit you. I'm sure there's other ways and better ways, but this is how I'm playing it. Anyways, sorry. I feel like in this position that exists in the timeline, it feels to me like so many of the different arcade games we would have played, or even like Genesis, whatever games where you are the hero, you're the axe, you're the dwarf, you're the whatever, right?
Gauntlet Legends,
right? It feels so much like they took you and dropped you into first person in that game, if that makes sense. Where you wouldn't expect to be making choices, but you're fighting these things, you're leveling up, you're getting your things. It's like, it's that kind of like, oh, I got dropped into what an RPG would be at that time period, which is totally fine and good or whatever. And so again, I'm enamored by it. Like I am like, oh man.
I wish I could main it right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how much I enjoyed my small time with it. One thing I do want to ask you all is, what classes did you pick and what hardware are you playing on? But first, we got to tell you about a word from our sponsors, because they keep the lights and the mics on.
That's right.
So listen to it right here.
This episode is brought to you by Imperial. We have told you all how important it is to developers that you wish list the games you're interested in. So, if this sounds cool to you, make sure you wish list it. I can't tell you how much it helps. Imperial is a complex, feature-rich action RPG where you'll be sent to a planet in a far-off corner of the galaxy to explore an enormous, imposing monolith. As an elite mercenary, you'll join the expedition tasked with unearthing the secrets of the monolith and face off against the deadly automatons within. In Imperial, you'll explore 4 vastly different quadrants of the monolith, accessible only by using mysterious artifacts known as cartograms. Each cartogram affects which enemies, boss fights, and loot will appear when you enter the monolith, so no 2 excursions will be the same. Find even more cartograms to explore by looting defeated enemies, or buy them from other players online at the trading post. You'll need to make sure you have the right gear to take on the harder cartograms. Build your mercenary, choose your gear, master your abilities, and take down everything in your path in Imperial. Face off against enormous, deadly bosses and seek out secret paths to find bigger and better loot. Help the members of the expedition in deep branching quests and aid other players in asynchronous multiplayer. Get ready, mercenaries. The monolith awaits. Imperial is available May 8th on PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5. Wishlist now. It helps so much. Wishlist Empyreal! This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. If you haven't called your mom in a while, here is your reminder to do it. But But if you want to go above and beyond, Mother's Day is coming up and I have the perfect gift idea. Aura frames are incredibly smart and easy to use, allowing you to upload unlimited photos and videos directly from your phone to the frame. Plus, you can order the frame online and preload it with photos and videos using the Aura app, so it's ready to go right out of the box. It's a gift so special, they'll use it every day. Me, Kevin, and a ton of people at Kinda Funny are obsessed with our Aura frames. It takes about 2 minutes to set up the frame using the Aura app. Aura frames were named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter and featured in 495 gift guides last year. I counted. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on the best-selling Carver matte frame. That's auraframes.com, promo code Kinda Funny. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Shout out to our sponsors and shout out to you all for super chatting and supporting us
what
as a company.
What a move right there.
Like
Transition.
Alex Fraser did with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Alex Fraser. Says, playing Oblivion was a fun little jaunt again, but what it really did for me was make me want to go back and play Avowed. Now I can't go back to Oblivion Remastered. It's just not as fun to play. Mouth to my ears.
Thank you. I was trying to.
Your fingertips to my ears.
Your mouth to God's ears. Like 100%. Like that's the one thing when I'm playing it, even right there where I'm beating the shit out of some guys here in the tower, where it's just like, Avowed felt so good to play. And again, is it fair to compare a game, 20 years later? No, but it is like, man, we complimented it when we reviewed it, but to be here now playing a game that is so similar, it's like, man, Avowed felt good to play.
Been a lot of improvements in the gameplay space there forever.
I just whack these guys with my sword. It's like playing this. The combat in Oblivion feels like what I imagine Infinity Blade, Infinity Blade. That was the
phone one.
Yeah. That's
maybe.
what I imagine that felt like to play because I never played it. But you know what I mean? Like that, it strikes me as how it is. As I slam my sword into them over and over again, like die.
$5 super chat from Sims Gaming says, birthday tax. Thanks for being a positive force in my life. Well, happy birthday to you,
Happy
Sims.
birthday.
Congratulations to you. Hope you're having a lovely day. Scarlet Libra with a $5 super chat says, getting a sword maiden tattoo finished on my back. Have a good weekend.
That's
Damn,
awesome.
that's got to be
Send photos.
How do you sleep? Or I guess you don't, if you sleep on your stomach, you'll probably be okay. Ty Wilkins, VO, $5 super chat says, also, let me read the first one, which by the way, thanks for super chatting twice. Very generous of you.
Tyler Wilkins.
Says, I love Oblivion for all of the minutia. Fact that I can level acrobatics and jump for the tallest tower with no damage or swimming and literally create a wake. Also, lockpicking is great. Actually gives you pressure and accomplishment. Go to Andy's stream at 55 minutes and just watch his reaction through it. I celebrated this is like this is like beating Melania, It was incredible. We'll read one more super chat and I'll get back to the other one. So thank you everybody for supporting. We have Alex J. Sandoval, OMGLX, with a $10 super chat. Says, my most vivid Oblivion memory was firing spells at a barrel until I maxed Alteration, then crafted my own master unlock spell called No, It's Not. Find a door that's locked? No, it's not. Oh, I love that.
That's really cool.
And that's
really
how
cool.
kind of granular you can get with the classes and with the spells and things like that. So what I...
Audio listeners were Here's Andy trying to do it.
A lot of struggle here with the plastic. YouTube commentators gave me a big tip that if you knock it back up, it stays the same speed. Before it reaches all the way, it stays the same sort of it doesn't change in speed.
Why is it different speeds?
I didn't get it. I didn't understand.
Why is it different speeds?
I wanted to shout out the.
That's him.
Thank you for bringing that video up, Barrett. What I wanted to bring up was classes and how we're playing the game. Because I was super stoked that when you create your character and you eventually go to that little prologue, you're asked, hey, what do you want to be? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And I fucked up and I picked something I didn't really want to do. And then they give you another chance to kind of re-roll it, which I loved, and I appreciated that because I accidentally clicked something that I shouldn't have. I was kind of bummed out to learn that there isn't a whole lot of, leveling up your, the way that you could kind of coax people into giving you better deals on things or swindle them in certain ways. There's a bit of that in here, but a lot of people were telling me in the chat, it's not like Mass Effect with Paragon or Renegade where you're like, hey, I'm going to be so nice to you. Like, all right, I'll give up where all of my enemies are hiding. Like, it's not quite to that level. So what I was leveling up and what I sort of spec'd into was, of course, Stealth Archer. But I really enjoyed the spells, and I wanted to be able to conjure a little skeleton who we call Boner, and I love that dude. And then conjure up my Theo from the past, and he's like a floating spirit that moves at about, like, I don't know, half a mile an hour. Like, this is the slowest moving spirit you've ever seen in your life. And
Your Theo is a heavy man.
I'm stoked to kind of keep on working through that. What classes did you all pick? Mike, do you remember what you picked back in the day?
Oh,
Did you differentiate that?
Yeah, I differentiated this time around. I think I always go to the classic, just sword and board in the Bethesda games and Skyrim. I think of we booted up my save from 2008 back in the day, and it was like he just had the mail armor on with the blade, katana, and a shield. And it's like, yep, that's what Mike was doing way back in the day.
Yeah.
And so I tried my best to do something different for Evil Mike, my character. I wanted to go with a dagger or a short sword.
Not
But
Steez.
no, not Steez. I've gone full away from magic this time around.
Wow,
And
okay.
so, it morphed into just running around with a bow. The bow seems to be my favorite. I also, like I said, have Brother Martin, who will do all of his own casting. He one-taps a lot of enemies. So, like, I have a companion running with me who just does most of it for
Oh,
me.
nice.
And I
Okay.
laugh in the background. I
Take
chose-
photos of him.
And
Photo
so
mode.
again, is this
Yeah.
when you kidnap Brother Martin?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So in Brother Martin's quest, which is like the second quest of the game, you're supposed to go find him over at Kavat and then bring him back to go see Joffrey, who is the king's friend.
Right.
And then you get that storyline going. And I looked at Brother Martin, I said, you're with me now. And so instead of going back, we just are on our own grand adventure. We go through mines together. We go do awesome dungeons together. It's just it's a brotherhood. It's a friendship.
I love that.
And so, yeah, that's been a lot of fun. I chose the snake burst sign this time around. Usually I'll go with, like, the warrior.
Oh,
I was
right.
debating between the lady and the snake, but the snake gives me a poison magic spell that I can throw out at everybody once a day. I don't really love that it's once a day.
Yeah.
It's kind of...
that bummed me out. Initially, with as much struggle as I was having with these lockpicks, I was like, oh, one of these skills gives me the ability to unlock things better or unlock more things, even more difficult locks.
Yeah.
And I guess I just sort of glossed over the once a day. And once chat pointed that out, I was like, I don't really know if I want that. So I lean more towards, I mean, I love clicking heads. I love being an archer in a lot of fantasy style games. And especially because this game does not have, because it is so dated in its combat and it's very much a product of its time, it doesn't have, the way Avowed has an incredibly rewarding parry or dodge and all that. This game does have a dodge. It doesn't feel awesome, and you'll be able to get away from enemies, but it doesn't feel like modernized in the way that I would prefer. So I chose to go archer along with some sort of either it's necromancy or just going with intelligence to kind of have fire spells. So I'll shoot an arrow at a dude and then fire spell, having a blast with sort of the variation in combat there, because I like the way the colors will look on the screen when you're doing cool spells, especially with how awesome the game looks. The lighting is fantastic. I created, what class did I create? Oh, I think I did a dark elf.
Me too. Yeah.
Because the first one I selected, I popped in there and was all kind of geared towards only magic.
Okay.
So I immediately kind of restarted and re-rolled my character. What did you go dark elf?
I went
chat
dark
told
elf.
me you did it.
Usually I go Argonian. I love the lizards.
Yeah.
But I went with dark elf this time for Evil Mike. I was really role playing this. My goal was to try to kill every NPC in the game. There's definitely some railroads. There's some restrictions on that. You're not allowed to just start murdering everybody.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, Evil Mike has been kind of held back a little bit on that. But I love the freedom of these games. I think that's what Oblivion showed me way back in the day, was the idea that you could equip the bow, use the bow all day long, or all of a sudden you're with a mace or you're with a claymore. It doesn't really matter what you have. You can do anything and have fun any way you want every time you turn it on, which is cool.
And
But don't you feel committed at some point?
Never. No, never.
Yeah.
I mean, except for when I get the Blades katana. Once it was pretty messed up that they took the katana away from me early on in the game.
In the dungeon, or the sewers, they take. I was so mad on stream. I was like, "What? They're taking away?" But then I got it pretty quick when I got to be a blade,
of course.
And then I was upset when I found a sword that was way better, and I was like, "Well, sell this fucking katana. I don't need this shit."
I saw a cool TikTok saying that if you go Argonian with the lizard guy, your poison won't hurt you.
Oh yeah.
So there's like a couple moments where, there's all this poison in the room, and they're just kind of tanking all of it and allowing the poison to kill the enemies, which I thought was really neat. Greg, what class did you go with? I know you already mentioned kind of sword fighting, but what class, what race did you pick? You went Khajiit.
Khajiit, hailing from the province of Elsewhere. They are intelligent, quick, and agile. They make excellent thieves due to their natural agility and unmatched acrobatic skills. A Khajiit can see in the dark. That's my power there. And it is the thing.
How does that?
Yeah. What does that look like?
It's a spell I can cast like over and over again. That'll give me
Predator vision type.
Yeah, I forget what they call it. There's an actual.
Does it outline enemies, or does it just make the screen brighter?
It makes the screen like purpley like bright, so you're kind of you're getting like night vision out of it. Yeah,
I've never seen that. That's cool.
It's not too shabby. When I was like, I was playing a dungeon and I was like, all right, is this a Bethesda bug or am I missing something? So I was like, I'm using clairvoyance to see where I had to go eventually, and it's just running me to a dead end. And then enemies are appearing, and I can hear like the enemies I'm supposed to fight, like, "Oh, what are you doing over there?" I'm like, all right, did they spawn in the walls? Like I use the night vision. I'm like looking all around. I'm like, no, this is just a broken dungeon. I'll come back.
I was having some struggle with speech crafting.
I did that. I'm born under the tower as my birth sign. The class I rolled was Bard. Intelligent and personable. They prefer to accomplish tasks with their words first and swords second. Specialization stealth. And I'm currently level 15 right now as I play through it. I'm using sword and board as well. I'm not a creative person. So I jumped in and it was like, I'm going to kind of let the game come to me on what I want to be. But usually I end up being bow and arrow and being very stealthy, or daggers. That's why I like using that a lot too. And I've been just very open to letting the game tell me what the best weapon I have is, and then going with it. So right now I'm running a glass longsword. It's doing 12 damage, which is what I wanted to be. These vampires can't be fucking killing me. I need DPS. I need to be owning their ass,
And that's a big reason why I love summoning a homie in a game. When we watched the Borderlands 4 preview or whatever that reveal was, seeing the Vex lady class that you can summon your little spectral tiger or whatever the hell. I loved always having something that could grab aggro and pull aggro as I'm trying to get these critical headshots. So I summon my little skeleton guy, and I really enjoy it. Greg, I noticed you're playing on... little ROG Ally right there. Your ROG Ally.
That's right, everybody.
Not sponsored.
ROG, no, but if you want to.
Yeah.
ROG Ally X. Yeah, I want to get this is, again, Greg Way, I've been talking at length about this, like doing the Outer Worlds replay. And so doing a re-review of that. And so I'm going to get my playing time in with it this way that I have even more to say about it. And I want to do like a review or my thoughts on it later, because top level, I love it. Like ROG Ally X and the ROG Ally X partnered with Xbox Play Anywhere is fucking choice. Like, it's exactly what I wanted. Where I've complained before about Steam Deck, but I want to be able to boot multiple things, blah 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 blah. But like,
not having to do these weird installations and boots and stuff.
But I'm a big baby, obviously, about PC gaming, as you know. But like, I got the Xbox app and I got Steam, and I'm just in there doing the damn thing. And so the ability of playing this on the Series X at my desk or the Series X at home on the giant screen, right, and then having it ready to go here is just so amazing. And it's to the point that I was talking about this, like, it is actually happening what I've warned the world about for so long, where where it's making me, I think, an Xbox gamer. This isn't a bit. Where, I started Expedition 33 with the Steam code they gave us, right? And then I was like, okay, cool. And I was playing on the ROG Ally X, and then I fell off, but I want to get back to it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to restart this, and I'm going to restart it on the Xbox version of the game so that I can play it on the Xbox Series X at home and have the big TV experience I want, which I know I could plug and play, blah, blah, blah. There's a million other things to get a PC that would be not handheld quality plugged into a TV, but that's just not my scene. Do that over there. And it's the same thing with Blueprints. I started Blueprints on Steam.
Whoa.
I'm like, no. I'm going to I did that when we first got code. I put 2 hours in. I'm like, all right, when I come back to that, Xbox as well. So I'm becoming an Xbox gamer strictly on the fact that I want
in the ecosystem.
Wow.
I want to be able to take the game locally. I mean, I love my remote play, Portal, don't get me wrong, but I'm getting on a plane this week. That doesn't help me. So like having everything ready to go there is where it is. However, though, performance-wise, I assume is why you were asking, right? Like,
yeah, like how's
Series
it
X has been awesome. I haven't had any crashes. I love the way it all syncs and saves. I think it looks gorgeous. It's so nice to play it there.
Beautiful.
And then over here on the ROG Ally, I'm running it at. I went and watched I went and watched a PC video. Andy,
Whoa!
So that somebody, I don't always have to drop it on Andy's desk and say, make it look good, please.
I love doing that though.
I know you do, and it's
My
one of those.
favorite
Even when
thing.
I jumped through a bunch of hoops because the ROG Ally's got a bunch of like different settings, and this person was going through doing exactly that. I didn't even think it looked that good, so I think I am just running it at basic. Yeah, I'm just running on basic low right now. Of course,
That's kind of the handheld way.
Yeah, exactly, and it looks fine. It doesn't look great, obviously. Frame rate's not amazing. What am I running? I think I limited the frame rate.
Probably 30.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm running uncapped on frame rate right now. I don't know what I'm getting. I haven't thrown it up, but it looks good enough. And again, when it's good enough for especially this game, an older game that is new again. And then the fact of like when I want to just throw it up on the TV when I can. But I think it's an interesting one where it fits so well on the handheld. Like again, I think I'm even more forgiving of the shortcomings, the dated things when I'm playing it on the handheld because it feels like, okay, cool, I'm playing a giant RPG on my handheld. It's fun.
What's the accessibility like with text? Is there any text that's way too small for the screen?
Oh, not for me. No, I've been able to read everything fine on the ROG Ally.
I was doing a blueprints run last night and it was just like, man,
I can see where that'd be a
those
problem.
words are real tough to read on the little like map layout or whatever.
It's more like, like I'll jump in and like with it being on low settings, I'm like, all right, I need to go to one of the merchants. And I run over to these blurry signs, and I'm like, fuck, are you the armor or are you the sword people?
You're gonna be selling me.
Mike, do you think you're gonna keep on continuing with Oblivion Remastered?
Oblivion and a lot of Bethesda RPGs will always be my comfort food game. I think I'll always be able to jump back into it. I don't see myself running through this one anytime soon as a priority, but it will always be there, which is what I appreciate. I think Grand Theft Autos and old school Bethesda games are always like my just go to. These are my favorite games from my childhood. And I'm so happy that it got the remaster, right? Like we talked about it. We haven't really talked how beautiful this game is.
It looks incredible.
This game is unbelievable. When you turn it on, and like for me, right, I go back to my old save on the original file of the game. And it's like you look at that and then you look at it, it's like, man, how blessed am I to have one of my favorites of all time get this up-res and this treatment and look so good.
Especially because I always saw these games, even at the time, as ugly. Like I was never a fan of the art direction or art style, and a lot of that just kind of like compounded when even Fallout New Vegas and then Skyrim, and I was like, God, they just I don't want to exist in any of this. Yeah, and so to have Virtuos, I think, do kind of a pretty killer job remaking all these assets from the ground up. Using Unreal Engine 5's just like super goated lighting system. It also runs really great when it doesn't crash. I was impressed by that.
I'm surprised you guys are having so many crashes.
Well, I only had one crash, but I don't want to speak for everybody and make it seem like the game is perfect because I know other people are having issues out there. But I was very impressed with how amazing the game was looking, running at 4K, super high, really good frame rate, and it looking as amazing as it did, and it was only using like 50% of my GPU. So I was pretty impressed by how lightweight it was, because the game is massive. I mean, it's 100+ gigs, right, Mike? Like it's
111
a big
to download. Yeah, I believe it's very big.
You want those high 4K res textures? It's going to be a big ass download.
And it's just one of those. It's so beautiful, and it's just fun to walk from point to point, explore the map. There's so much to find and see, just like any other Bethesda game. But yeah, it's wild to think here we were 20 years ago, and here we are now, getting to enjoy this all over again. I love it.
And again, I think something I talked about a little bit back that I want to call out is the fact that there's so little hand-holding, which I know is off-putting to people, right? Maybe you don't want to Google or have a strategy guide or whatever. But it also was awesome for me of like, one of the early quests I was on was like, all right, cool. Your next clue is going to be where the river meets the bay. And like, it was like, and it doesn't like drop the pin where you need to go. So it's like, I look at the map, I'm like, oh, I go down there. I get down to where the river meets the bay or whatever. And I look across the way, and granted, again, I'm doing this all for the first time. I look across, and there's an island out there with this like weird statue. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I swim over there, and I get off there, and I'm like, oh, it's a 3-face statue. And like, oh, and then it was like, I ran into the Shivering Isles DLC that was included.
Shit.
And I started that, and I was like, damn, this was really cool, and a nice emergent gameplay moment of me just finding it. And then, of course, when I was done with that and I came back off, I'm like, all right, well, I'll go to this town. And then I went there and I found the thing, and it's like, okay, cool. I like, again, like, I know you're going to get to super chats, but if I can pull one out here. Dean Brown super chatted, said, 19 years later, the Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild quest lines in Oblivion are as fun as ever. Maybe Bethesda's best. So fun to revisit this game.
It's funny because I've heard so much about these things in just gaming culture.
but again, like in a how video games are constantly waiting for you, and they're there for you nowadays. They want to meet you where you want to be. I started the Thieves Guild quest line. I was like, okay, cool, and like immediately they're like, all right, there's 2 other thieves here. You guys got to go get one of you has to go get the MacGuffin or whatever, right? And maybe this is how you do it. And there's no thing on it. And like talk to the beggars. I was like, all right. And I walked in the city and there were no beggars there. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I'm going to fuck off and do something else. And I did, and I got the message of like, all right, the other person's already found that. Oh, this was a race. I didn't realize it was like a quest. You know what I mean? And I was like, I came back to it later or slept or whatever. And then they came back like, well, my character was like, well, the other person got the MacGuffin, so maybe there's another way for me to get into this. I was like, damn, shit. I didn't expect it to be a timed. I was going to miss this if I didn't do it.
Shout out to Miguel Kicks for becoming a 30-month member with using their Twitch Prime member. Did you know that if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime? Wow, that harmony was fantastic.
It sucks you got to work with Nick so much.
It really does. It truly does. Let's get to some more.
I shit my pants last night. Ain't that funny?
Let's get to some more super chats. Mellow Fellow, $2 super chat. $2 super chat just says Oblivion in all
that's
caps.
all you need to say.
Yep.
We got Omega Buster with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Omega Buster. Very generous of you. Says, so Andy and Turtle are best friends. Mike's on the street. Damn. A lot of
I made Andy run into the middle of a battlefield with no cover to res me, and he's still mad at me for that one.
Still pissed off.
We had a lot of gear. We were looking really good.
I had so much good stuff.
Yeah.
Great moment in Arc Raiders. Go check out the VOD if you want to check it out. It's near the end of it. It's pretty much the very end of it because it ended the game. It ended the night of Mike being like, Andy, res me. And I'm like, Mike, I'm not going to get to you. It's running out. You can res me. Don't you fucking walk on me. Make it, Andy. Make it. So I'm running out there, middle of fucking nowhere to go res Mike. And I kneel down. We just start getting shot by all of these other Raiders on the server. What a great time.
That brings me back to flashbacks of playing Fortnite with Kevin.
Oh my God.
Kevin,
You just gave me so much PTSD right there. Yang Fam, $2 super chat says, thank you, Greg. You deserve those 3 stars.
Oh,
Thank you. I'm glad I look forward to that.
I'm excited to see
Yang.
that.
Is that your alternate account or what?
No, that's you remember we're going to give him the Expedition 33 spoiler cast.
Joseph Park with a $5 super chat asks, what's y'all's opinions on carrying capacity? I'm enjoying the game, but I've been so sick of carrying capacities in open world RPGs. I'll tell you what, Joseph
Great
Park.
question.
When it's a game that I don't care about being roasted by the community on, because there's nothing I would ever do in an Elden Ring or in a Souls game. I don't want to get blasted by the community.
Wow.
But a game like this is definitely one that I would go download a mod for. And I did it in Dragon's Dogma 2. I never did the Dragon's Dogma 2 mods where you get the unlimited fast travel crystals, because I still enjoyed the traveling aspect of it, and that's why they wanted you to not. They wanted those things to be in much higher rarity. But I downloaded the quality of life things that I wish it had, which one of them that was very important in Dragon's Dogma 2 was unlimited stamina when you're not in battle. And I downloaded that mod, and it made the game so much better because you're not constantly like, all right, my guy's tired, let me keep on running. When you're not fighting, you have unlimited stamina. This is definitely a game. The Oblivion Remastered is definitely a game that I would be super down to go look on Nexus mods and go, unlimited carrying capacity. I don't want that part of the game, because that's not really something that's hurting the experience, where it's like, no, you gotta, man, it makes the experience so much better. You gotta really deal with that sort of, being encumbered. I don't want that. Get it out. Like, that should be somewhere else. That should be an accessibility thing now in games. Where
Like
it's
Starfield did.
Toggle that shit off.
Which I thought there was not a chance they would do. I remember when Gary was bitching about that at launch of Starfield. I'm like, dude, that's how Bethesda makes their games. They're not going to change that, and they did. It's interesting. For me, with Fallout 3 and on, I've never had a problem with carrying capacity. Like, I do think it's a fun, like, oh, I got to decide what do I want to put down, what do I, blah, blah, blah. This one, I have an issue with it, where it's like, when I did the lock picking, it gave me so many points that I leveled up my strength all the way. So I have 500. I can carry a lot. Mm-hmm. But it's like still annoying because it's a little bit more cumbersome to get, right? Like, fast travel is restricted when you're inside the dungeon or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. I also feel like I'm always hurting for coin in this. Like, I haven't gotten to where I can't get a bed or I can't repair my things, but it's like I run into this thing and it's like, oh, like one of the quests for one of the other things is like, you can, the vampire sanctuary or whatever down south. Anyways, doesn't matter. But you're like, oh, well, you can fix this place up. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Maybe it'll be like my HQ if I fix it up. And so I went to talk to the guy. And he's like, yeah, it'll be 2,000, 3,000 for every one, like 5 of these things. I'm like, bro, I got 185 gold. Like, I got to figure out how to, so it's like right now I'm in the dungeon and I am over encumbered. And it's like I got 3 weapons that are all like, I just picked up. They're 500 gold or 400 gold. It's like, I don't want to drop any of this shit.
Yep.
Like, come on.
As if he was summoned from the
Gary
shadows.
saw
Gary
you.
Whitta pops in and says, encumbrance should be banned in all games forever.
I have a problem in Bethesda games. I like to collect all the books. I find it fascinating that they like write these little novels and these books. So I have a big problem of I like to collect every single book. And then do I ever read them? Of course not, Andy.
Well, of course not.
You
But
know what I mean? And then like, where do I put them? I have nowhere to put them either. But just my back pocket.
you got to put them in your Zoom call background whenever you're doing a Zoom call interview.
Well, that's why I thought it was like so interesting in this one. Like they have the bookshop guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I've always been looking for you in like a video game like this. So I pick up all the books. I just turn them in. Just go ahead. I read them real quick to make sure I'm not like going to miss a quest spot.
I like that.
Turn them in.
Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Patrick Gilbert, formerly of Polygon, and now
Brian
with-
David Gilbert, who read
Brian
all the,
David Gilbert.
read all the Skyrim books.
That's cool.
read every book in
That's
Skyrim?
like my dream, but I'll never do it.
Yeah.
Like that. That's like secretly like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Brian David Gilbert. Shout out Brian David Gilbert.
Oh, I have so many questions.
I also wanted to call out another game that gives you way too many things to be picking up, and that encumbers you as well. Was Baldur's Gate 3. That's another one where I downloaded the unlimited weight mod because I'm picking up so much stuff, and I don't feel like it's lessening my experience to have more things in my bag. But you're making this a worse experience by encouraging me to not loot everything. I just want to be clicking on shit and not have to worry about it, That should just be a passive thing that gets forgotten about. Another super chat from Jacob Cody. $2 super chat says, got a quest-breaking bug that was there in the OG. Nice.
Yeah.
I think...
I was in, when I was playing today, I was in the Oblivion Gate, and I got stuck. I looted one of the guys, and then I couldn't open doors because it still thought I was looting. So every time I would press A, it would just bring back up his body and have me continue to loot. Had to turn it off, restart the whole...
I think the homie Jasik, frequently in the Twitch chat, also mentioned that he had a pretty bad game-breaking bug, and then tried to go back to an old save, and it was all just like the save. It was all corrupted. So it seems like maybe some of the old Bethesda quirks may still be there.
Quirks.
Jens FC with a $2 super chat says, Evil Mike or Caesasaurus for MVP.
Stegosaurus, of course. So many adventures, so many journeys. Evil Mike's just finding his way.
Alex,
Finding his way out there.
Too early.
Baby bird trying to find his way.
we got John Sim with a $5 super chat says, no need to rank up, just hold the controller when the lock moves slow and then click A to set lock. Just hold up and see for yourself. Super easy. Hold up. Okay.
I
keep that in mind.
I did this.
Because this is definitely a game that I really don't even want to try to stream a whole lot. It seems like a game that I want to play at night by myself where I'm just adventuring.
Yeah.
And I found myself not wanting to fast travel because I am finding cool shit along the way. And it's those reasons why I loved more modern games like even Elden Ring or all the the recent Zelda games where you have that. What the hell's over there? Let me go check it out. You can walk on that
You
mountain.
should come join
See
me and
that
Brother
mountain
Martin on our adventures.
Co-op.
We're having
Imagine
a
they
great
put
time.
in co-op. Oh my god, that would be incredible.
Great time.
We have a couple more super chats before we round out the show. Super chat from Michael Cardenas with a $5 super chat says, having played the Oblivion Remaster, how is your excitement for the Fallout 3 remaster changed? And when would you want/hope they drop it?
What a great question. Fallout 3, and I've had this conversation on shows before where I think, most people's first Bethesda game is their favorite Bethesda game. I think, and I'm talking about modern ones. Obviously, I can't speak for a Morrowind, right? But it is that idea of like, what the fuck? Like, Fallout 3 coming out of the vault, like that moment, and be like, I can go anywhere. Incredible. And like, it's so seared into my brain in gaming history.
Imagine Virtuos getting their hands on that.
And,
Holy shit.
And that's the thing. I can't wait. Do I want that 1,000%? When do I think it's smart to drop that? I think it's smart to drop it right around either the season premiere or season finale of Fallout Season 2. I think they saw so many numbers spike, obviously, for Fallout 76, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. Last time around Season 1, you want to ride that again? Drop this right then. And I'll
Having
be
a fall
stoked.
New Vegas remaster, though, the matchup with Season 2 would be nuts. Yeah, it's fun because Oblivion will always be my favorite Bethesda title because it's my first one, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I have such a love for that. But when I think of Fallout 3, I have so many good memories of that. That was college year freshman. We were in the dorms watching Matt play, and we'd all switch off desks,
Yeah.
seeing the VAT system and laughing. And what a great time.
Yeah, I'd be
so
super
it'd be
excited to go
huge.
back to that.
That'd
Run
be
around
cool.
DC. Come
Yeah.
on.
A big super chat from Gator Mashed Potato.
Good name.
$20 super chat says playing the remaster was a nice throwback, but I also agree that it's hard to go back to it after playing modern games that really iterate on the on Bethesda Game Studio style, like Avowed for the combat or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for the immersion and story. Man, I know we get a lot of criticism here for not giving Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 its time or its flowers, and I completely agree. I wish I could freeze time and just main and no life that game because it has so many things that I enjoy about RPGs, and it was just couldn't have come at a worse time.
Bad timing for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Riley with a big $20 super chat says, I agree with Greg's feeling on Oblivion being a comfort food RPG. I played for many hours and love my time, yet I'm not compelled to play it. Instead, it's made me appreciate and kind of fall in love with Avowed. Very similar, very similar thoughts today. $5 super chat from Box. That's funny.
That's funny.
I like that. It's TH into the X. The irony of people judging Avowed for not feeling like a true Bethesda game, but now disappointed that Oblivion doesn't feel like Avowed. Yeah, I mean, I think we're always looking at certain points of criticism because my issues with Avowed were never that its combat wasn't fun. In fact, that was the main
Well, he's
thing
not talking
keeping
about
me
you,
going.
right? He's saying people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I think
sure,
just in general, the temperature of chats.
But Ekbox, watch your ass. All right?
Don't fucking come at us, Mike.
Watch your
Get him.
ass.
Watch
No, thank
your
you for
ass.
supporting us. Very, very nice of you. Any final words today on Oblivion Remastered?
I'm really happy they did this.
Yes.
I think, it's one of those, I would have probably never played Oblivion and gone back to it. When I mentioned doing it, Mike stopped me. He was like, don't bother. It's an old game. Don't worry. It's not going to work the way you want it to. And so the fact that they did this, I think I'm so glad they did. And I think it speaks to the fact that it's resonating with me, a 20-year-old game for somebody who never played it, let alone then for it resonating with Mike and the audience, people who have these cherished memories of it. So I think it's a great example of how these remasters do matter and can really speak to an audience that you didn't have before, but has found out about you since then.
Mike,
Yeah,
anything else?
it's a special one for me. Having a childhood game come back up and get the glow up and just get the love and care that it deserves, and to have it at the forefront this year with all these other great games and people celebrate this and going back and seeing people streaming it live on Twitch, seeing people in our live audience talk about their memories and how much fun they're having with it right now is special to me. I think the team did an incredible job. How beautiful this game is. It runs well. There's bugs, there's problems, but like when it's really going, it's a great time and an awesome experience. And so I'm just very happy and lucky to have a game that I love come back into my life like this.
I think what makes me super sad about it is just the potential for what could have been a Mass Effect remake in this style, right? They came out with the Mass Effect trilogy Mass Effect Collection remastered, and hearing about the development cycle there, it sounded very troubled because it's an Unreal Engine 3 game that is stuck on Unreal Engine 3. We can't. The people who have all the coding and all the knowledge of it don't work here anymore. So we're going to update the lighting as best as possible, and we're going to give remastered textures, but it's still going to look the way it does, as opposed to what a gargantuan task this was to remake this many assets and have them look so high res and so amazing. And I wish that we could have gotten not even just a trilogy remake. That's like pie in the sky. I wish we could have gotten like a Mass Effect 1 remake in this style with full art assets and everything, and have virtuos pop off. And it does bum me out, and I hope that maybe we can revisit those RPGs sometime soon with a better coat of paint. We do have a couple of last second Hail Mary.
My apparel's always broken.
Huh?
My apparel is always broken.
Really?
When I get into fights with people, it's immediately breaking it.
Another mod you can download. Legitimately, like that's something you could just be like, oh, make apparel break less. A couple of Hail Mary last second super chats from Robbie Rob says, what's the funniest moments you've had?
Oh my God.
Watching Greg do something silly recently was funny. No, if you're talking about in the game, I think the conversations are hilarious. The the speechcraft moments of how's it going? I sell the best gear. And you go into speechcraft. I don't want nothing to do with you. All right, thanks for seeing you. Get out of my face. I love how just goofy it is.
I love having someone come and follow you as like a short-term companion, and then growing attached to them, and then they die in front of you, and that feeling of like, damn. I didn't want you to die. Wanted to make it all the way with you.
Last second super chat from Volk Dasher with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Volk. Says, this game and Skyrim with Fallout 3 is why I'll never be mad at Bethesda and never give us an elite game again. Most devs can't say they have 3 or 4 legendary level games.
Shutting one down. He's closing an Oblivion Gate.
Wow.
Nothing cooler than seeing the first Oblivion Gate in this remaster and how gorgeous that is with the color and the darkness in the background in front of that castle. It's like, oh my God, this is crazy.
I really enjoyed it on the stream when I ran into the first Oblivion Gate. Somebody made the comment of like, imagine just running straight into an Oblivion Gate with no fear. I respect it because I was like, is it supposed to be tough? Because it didn't feel tough.
Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to this episode of the Gamescast. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on Oblivion Remastered. Do you plan on hopping in, or are you still knee-deep in Expedition 33? Because let me tell you, I'm replaying it from, after beating it for the review. Watching these cutscenes, it's crazy rewatching these cutscenes and the amount of stuff and knowledge that they're dropping that meant nothing to me back in my first. Holy shit!
Eddie, you ready for this fucking spoiler
Holy
cast,
shit,
dude?
Spoiler cast, baby!
I'm so excited.
Next
Thanks for
week,
watching, everybody.
Cat Bailey.
Have a lovely weekend. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other, and we'll see you back on Monday. But stick right here because there'll be an Andor spoiler cast followed by the finale for Game Showdown.
I do it? The underdog story of Greg Miller, constantly shoved down into a pile of shit by Tim Geddes in Game Showdown. Can I finally right those wrongs? I successfully cashed in Stars in the Bank. Can I do what God and or Satan wants me to do and win this?
Both
Find out
of them.
today.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye, gamers.